Hey fam, it's Tams.
And Nate.
Today we are cooking pumpkin turnovers. They're a great dessert, little pastry. On our island we call them pastet.
Basically pumpkin spice, right?
Yes,
it's
pumpkin spice.
That time of year.
So stay tuned.
Alright guys, so first of all, we're gonna start off doing our crust, right?
Yes.
Crust.
Dang, it's like all up in my face. Anyways, so the recipe calls for 2 cups of flour, so we're gonna get...
Oh, and by the way, we're splitting the recipe in half. We will give you guys the full recipe, right?
Yeah, full recipe on the description box.
For time's sake, we're splitting it in half. Okay, so 2 cups of flour.
So that's 1 cup. Get another cup. So Nathan was like, "Oh, if you bake, you have to level it off." So wait. Oh, where is it? Where's the measuring cup? It's right here.
No, the measuring cup we were trying to use. Oh yeah,
it's
she was trying to use that for flour. I was like, nope, sorry.
Sorry, I'm not a baker. I rather cook than bake. So anyways, so you gotta like level it off, like he said.
Well, you pack brown sugar, you level flour.
Okay.
You don't pack flour.
Okay, so we have 2 cups of flour. Next calls for half a cup of sugar. So we level it off. And the best thing for baking, my mom told me, and be sure to check her out on Facebook, Cooking with Kathy, is you should mix your dry ingredients first. So, okay. So next is half a teaspoon of salt. That's about half a teaspoon. Okay, so let's mix up our dry ingredients.
Combine our dry ingredients. My high school cooking teacher would be proud that I taught you how to measure flour.
Okay, so the next ingredient is 3/4 cup of Crisco.
So go ahead and dump that in our dry ingredients.
Okay, so mom says you just mix the Crisco in with your dry ingredients. What you're gonna see is kind of like a crumbly dough.
Alright, so for this next step, it's important that you have ice in your water. We want really cold water. And she said add a tablespoon.
Yeah, you're gonna add about 15 to 18 tablespoons of ice water until you get that right consistency. So right now the dough is pretty crumbly as we mix the shortening in there. Okay, so next add a tablespoon of ice water until you get that doughy consistency.
Alright, so for this recipe, we cut it in half as we said, so we only needed about 9, so you'll probably need about 17 to 18 for the full recipe, right?
Yep.
Alright. Alright, so our dough has to go in the refrigerator for about an hour, and she's just going to cover it with a little plastic wrap. Just to make sure that it doesn't dry out the water that we put in it. Just kind of wrap it around the dough. Wrap it around the dough just so it doesn't dry, and put it in the refrigerator for about an hour. Alright guys, so we're going to take roughly half a can of this pumpkin. We got it on medium heat back there. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put our brown sugar in there.
And how many cups is that?
This right here is half a cup. Alright, so we're just going to heat this up until the brown sugar melts. We're going to go ahead and put in our spices.
So that's going to be half a tablespoon.
Alright, so we put in our allspice, and then also half a teaspoon
of ground cinnamon. Okay, so you're going to stir this up for about 10 minutes or until all the brown sugar
is combined with the pumpkin and spices.
And melts as well. Okay, so our filling is pretty much done. You wanted to cook it for about 10 minutes until the brown sugar melts. Next step is that we want to dry out the filling because it's going to be too wet for our pastries, so our pastet. So anyways, what you would do is just get a glass bowl, a strainer, and then you would pour that filling into the glass bowl. And this will drain out majority of the moisture, and then we'll be ready to put our pastet together.
All right, so we let our dough sit for an hour roughly, and we've got our filling drained out.
Okay.
She's got the egg to brush it. What are we doing here?
Okay, so mom's trick is to make sure your balls are evenly sized. Take a tablespoon and pack it really good. You know, mush it against the side of the bowl, and then you would have uniformed balls every time.
So we have all our dough made up, and it made about 23, 24. This is with half the recipe. So what are we doing next?
Okay, so the next step, we are going to flatten our balls into circles. So you would take your tortilla press, make sure you cut enough wax paper to squish your balls, and then put another wax paper on top. Now, this is a very important step when you're pressing the dough. You don't want to put too much pressure. You want very light pressure because you don't want your dough to be too thin. And then there you have it. You have little circular sizes. Okay. So you're going to repeat this step until all your balls are pressed. So our next step to the pastet is, now that we got all our dough flattened out, we are going to fill it with our pumpkin filling. Okay.
So line up the edges nice and pretty. Kind of pinch them together a little bit.
Okay.
Carefully fold open the wax paper.
Okay, and then we're going to take the back of a fork, and we're just going to seal the edges. There you have it.
Alright, so we got them all made up, and what's our next step?
Okay, so we just took one egg, and we're going to brush these with egg wash.
Now just add some color to it when it cooks. Alright, so how long are we going to cook these for?
Okay, we're going to cook them at 350 degrees for about 27 minutes.
27 minutes at 350, so we'll be back with you when we take them out of the oven.
We got one more step.
Oh, one more step?
We forgot one more step.
We forgot a step. Oh,
so that,
holes.
Yeah, we need to gently poke some holes in it. Probably about 2 to 3.
Alright, so we'll get the holes poked in it and then get it into the oven. We'll be back with you in just a minute. Alright guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's free.
It's free. And we are going to test these babies out. Definitely make these for the holidays. They're perfect for Thanksgiving, right? You got anything else to tell them?
That's it.
All right, guys, we are out of here.